Toyota have said for years that they are going to make the hydrogen cars commonplace, and they often talk about how amazing the technology is. They've been saying this for years, literally years, that they are going, they're going through a bit of a breakthrough period, and that they're on the edge of some sort of big breakthrough, which is of course not true. I actually made a screenshot on another video, and I actually put the tweets from Toyota from, I think it was like 2012 and 17 and 19 and 2021, where they were basically just saying the same thing, every couple of years. So hydrogen technology is, whilst it is actually useful in some scenarios, it's not great for cars, for ordinary people. I'm talking about the people that drive, the Honda Jazz, Toyota Yaris, Toyota Camry, cars like that, ordinary cars for ordinary amounts of money. The price of them is way too high to start with. They start at around $50,000 before on-road costs in the US, and that's for the low-range one. And then I think it's like 68,000 if you want the one that has like 40 or 50 miles more range. It's a huge difference. And the main reason that they are not as clean as you might think is because of the sheer amount of electricity that you consume to operate the hydrogen system in the hydrogen network. So we'll get into that. By the end of this video, you will know roughly how much electricity you need to produce a bit of hydrogen for a hydrogen car and to drive, 400 miles. So welcome to the show. I'm Ben Alexander, and here I am back in Europe, and a completely different setting to normal. I hope it's all right, for a while. So just to move 1 kilogram of hydrogen from a large storage tank, so kind of like a petrol Bowser, like side of the road, you pull up to it just to move a kilo of that hydrogen. You will need around 6 to 7.5 kilowatt hours of electricity just to move it from that tank into your car. So that's just 1 kilogram. With hydrogen, they typically talk in kilograms, not liters, by the way. So that's just to move the energy, not to create it. To create that kilogram of energy, you need about 50 to 55 kilowatt hours to produce that 1 kilogram of hydrogen. The Toyota Mirai has a pressure in the fuel cell of around 10,000 psi. So it takes huge amounts of pressure and very special equipment to be able to just move it from a tank into a car. So this means that for a Toyota Mirai to be able to drive its full range of about 360 to 400 miles, that uses about 40 kilowatt hours of electricity just to pump that, the hydrogen into your car. So 40 kilowatt hours of electricity just to put it into your car, and then you can drive 400 miles. So to produce the hydrogen, this is where it gets interesting. It will take around 320 kilowatt hours of electricity to produce and then put it into the car for a full refill of energy, hydrogen. So basically, you need 320 kilowatt hours of electricity to drive 400 miles in a hydrogen car. I can't help but think that this, I feel like this is a bad deal for the environment. I can't see how you could justify that. Even if you use clean energy, loads of solar panels, which, by the way, are not always very green themselves, even though I do like solar panels, obviously, but there is that debate, isn't there? It depends who you ask and, the answers you get, but generally solar panels are not the greenest thing on the planet. At best, I would say questionable to do 400 miles. You've used 320 kilowatt hours of electricity, let alone the very special and expensive and very heavy equipment you put into the car to be able to use that hydrogen, for example. So obviously you can compare that to a battery in a car, couldn't you? I mean, there's definitely some sort of comparison that you could make. So whilst it sounds great to run on the air that you breathe all around you, it just isn't the case that it works out for average cars and drivers. It's just too expensive and not efficient enough. So even the head of the group of people in Australia that was put together by the government in Australia to see how they could benefit from hydrogen to maybe for a better future. He said publicly, basically, it definitely is not viable for cars on the average cars on the road, perhaps only trains and buses, but basically it's a no-go. He actually said that, so that's pretty interesting, isn't it? So what do you all think of it as a way to fuel your car and to drive around and get your groceries? I will actually run a poll. I will do a poll and I'll put it on. So when you're watching this video, make sure you go onto the channel and then go into the community section. There'll be a poll, and I just answer that poll, and if we can get 100 people or something like that, that'd be interesting, I think. Toyota said in something like 2009, 12, and 17, and about a year or so ago, I think it was 2022 actually, that they're on the edge of this big breakthrough with hydrogen cars. It's basically a done deal, I think, at this point, that batteries are what people are keen for, and it's not very often I read a comment whereby someone thinks that hydrogen cars are better than cars with a battery, for example. I know you can also break down the energy uses associated with creating, for example, a 50 kilowatt hour battery pack for a BYD, for example, but it seems that it's much more convenient for people to plug in at home with the electricity that they produce themselves typically, or chose to purchase from somewhere at the price that they were happy with, and charge at their leisure and not have to play with a 10,000 psi pressure vessel under their back seat, basically, which is very unappealing. So when they want to recharge, you can just charge it at home, and there's a lot less risk in that. So batteries are generally understood to be safe these days, or considerably safer. And currently, as of 2023, EVs are 20 times less likely to be involved in a confirmed battery fire. So when you're talking about fires with cars, it's not that, you should not really reference that there's a car on fire and it has a battery, or there's a car on fire and it has an engine and a petrol tank. The idea is to separate and compartmentalize the types of fires that we get, so you can better quantify the amounts of fires for petrol, diesel, and batteries. So the fire people, they say confirmed battery fires. That's what we're interested in. When has a car set on fire because of the battery, and it's confirmed that it's the battery? Because typically on a petrol or a diesel car, it can be something like a fuel leak, or dodgy wiring where they rub or something like that, and a short happens and a wire gets hot and burns the car up. Or I think one of the most common ones, which is very interesting, I did not expect this, the catalytic converter is often too hot, and that's one of the most common ways in which a car fire starts. The reason I'm saying these things is because Toyota basically keep pushing their hydrogen car stuff at people year after year after year after year, taking up huge amounts of time, but it's just too expensive, and clearly not a jump forward in terms of efficiency, and people clearly do not want it, but still the mainstream media are pushing hydrogen down your neck. And I think it's probably because, for those that don't know, you might just think that there's a bit of clever gubbins going on. You take the air, compress it a bit to maybe like what you have in a car tyre, 30, 40 psi, and then you can pump it into your car and it burns it and it's beautiful and it's amazing. That's not the reality. It's wholly inefficient. So feel free to voice your opinion in the comment section. I always read the comments every day, but interestingly, more people than me read the comments before I've even gotten to them. So, have a go in the comments. Let me know what you think.